You think it's too good to be true? The production from these players, well, it is. It's going to crash. Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, I'm coming for you. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and don't cry for me, I'm already dead. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Go check out lockedondaily.com. You like an NBA team, don't you? Well, if you do, you can find the best NBA team newsletter at lockedondaily.com. Your favorite team, all the best info right across the information super highway. Hit a thumb up on the video and double bang, and hit the trade deadline show as well. I would love it if you could do that. We did the buy low show earlier on today, so this is the sell high show. 5 names that we're talking about that are overproducing that you should see maybe if there is something you can do. Now, in a sell high, what do I mean? Do you need to trade the player away? No, you don't. You just hold it and you can ride it out. Love it. Unbelievable from you. If you do that, you can get that value and that is fine. And then when the wheels fall off, or if they do, whatever. But they're players that I just want to highlight that I just don't think are going to hold this same value. Write it out, trade it away, doesn't matter. If a player is not mentioned on this show, well, these are the only 5 sell highs ever. Nobody else is a sell high at any point. These are the only ones. Of course, that's not true. These are just 5 names that I've got. Another player might be a sell high. He's not included here. That's true. But that's fine. I'm not going to cover every player at every point in every situation. So have a look at these names. See if you've got them. You might just love it. And it is hard to do. It is hard to convince somebody in doing a sell high. Go, man, this guy's really killing me. He's killing it. He's so good. He's so good. Do you want him? Why don't you want him? Oh, he's actually just too good for me. He's too good for my team's too good. I want to make it fair. Like, what are you going to say? It's hard to do. It's hard to do. But there are certain situations where players and other managers might go, why would he trade him away? This is definitely going to continue. He's different. He's figured it out. And so it's about trying to figure those things out along with the statistical numbers. That will bring us to take a look at how we did on this sell high show 2 weeks ago. So let's take a look how we went 2 weeks ago, and we start off with one that I think didn't go as well as I would have hoped. I thought Trey Murphy, as much as I love Trey Murphy, I thought that he was going to be a sell high. He's actually gotten better. He was 29th. He's 24th since that time. Zion is back now, and eventually something I'm going to guess is going to happen with Ingram. But then we had the Herb Jones injury happen in the middle of that. I still believe that Trey is not going to maintain as a second-round player or a third-round guy, but he's doing it well at the moment, and I still really, really love him as a player. Awesome stuff. The rest of them worked out fantastically. Norman Powell was 26th. In the intervening 2 weeks, he's been 87th, and that's with Kawhi barely playing. Part of the thing with Norman Powell, talking about a sell high, was twofold. Is that Kawhi would take some usage away, and that his insane shooting numbers would fall. And even though last game they were sky high, things have obviously fallen. He's 87th. Sell high does not mean that a player becomes useless. It does not mean that a player becomes droppable. It does not mean any of that stuff. It just means the level they were rolling at, 26th, is probably not going to hold. And it hasn't for Powell. And can he be better than 87th? Yeah. He might be 60th. He might be 70th. You might have got him at pick 140. And I understand the mentality. Go, why would I sell high? I got him at pick 140. He rolled at top 30. I just enjoy the ride. Cool. That is totally cool as well. That's totally fine to do. But if you can turn a top 30 player into a top 50 guy who stays at top 50 versus that other guy going from 30th to 90th, well, that's even a bigger W. That's even more of a win. But it's also cool if you don't. So Powell has dropped. Josh Giddey has dropped. He was 16th. He's 72nd since then. I'm not sure he's going to even hold at 72, but that's okay. Hopefully you got something good back, but maybe you didn't. But there was an understanded drop coming. Understood. Miles Bridges was 32nd, and there was Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball missing some time. He really took a big jump in terms of usage. They're back. He's 65th. Bang on. I actually think he probably falls a little bit from 65th even further from here. But that's what's happened. And the last one, wow, look at this one. DeAndre Hunter. What a wild season this man has had. He was 45th. I said this is not going to hold. He's 196th since I said that, which is clearly terrible. That's not even a 12-team valuable player. You don't drop him in 12-team leagues, but when you look at what Hunter did, not very good to start the season, missed a bunch of time with a knee injury, had some moments where he's like 130th, had like a 4-week run of like the 30th best player or whatever it was, 40th best player. People were like, he's figured it out, he's awesome, he's unbelievable, and now he's back to this because he's DeAndre Hunter. He was rolling, and he is the guy that relies upon shooting without anything else. And when you're shooting at that high of a level, it's a great lesson for any of this stuff. It's going to come down. And when you don't have other stuff to buttress it, well, I don't know what more we think is going to happen. Now, obviously, him at 196, he's not going to be that bad. He will push way higher than that. Swings and roundabouts. It's about trying to cash in when the aura is so high that he's being glazed all over the place. 6th man of the year, best bench player. How good is he? Maybe some idiots like maybe he should be in the All-Star game. No, he absolutely shouldn't. And that is where you can cash in that sort of a scenario. So, what about at the moment? Is anyone worth cashing in from? Well, we're going to go to Houston, and we're going to talk about 2 players in Houston. And we're going to start with Jollibee Jalen Green. You know my thoughts on Jalen Green, I think. If you haven't, welcome to the show. Green has been inconsistent through all of his career. He has hot streaks and then extended cold streaks. This season, it is the same, but also different, is that the hot streaks have been more common, and they have been smaller gaps between the hot streaks. He is improving as a player, absolutely no problem with that at all. He's also one of those guys that a traditional 9-cat ranking will tell you at times is an unrosterable player, which again I find comical. Because that level of scoring is, well, not I find comical, because that's not true. Because there have been times when he gets benched and plays 28 minutes where I go, I don't think we want that. But now that the faith is there and the minutes are there, then yeah, we are way more into it. Like, for example, a straight 9-cat rank will tell you that he's the 98th best player this season. I don't think that that's quite accurate. I've got him, at the moment, I've got him projected rest of season 81st, but he's been 19th over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 43 fantasy points in that time. His season-long numbers are 21 points a game, 4.5 boards and 2.5 assists. This hot streak is cooking him, like it's cooking everyone. He's averaging 30 a game. 30 a game. He's had some hot streaks this season. He's playing 36 minutes a night. That is helping. But he's averaging 30 points. He's hitting 4.3 threes. So number one, you go, well, how's that happening and is it real? Well, he's shooting 46% from 3. This is a guy that has never had a season where he's shot over 35% from 3, including this one. He's at 34.5 this season from 3. So, yeah, that's 10 percentage points higher. 11, actually. It will come down. So his 4.3 threes will come down. So let's say that 4.3 threes goes down to, well, he's hitting 2.8 for the season. That's 1.5 threes, which is 4.5 real-life points, which takes him down to 25.5 points per game. Already, huge drops. He's at 92% from the line. His best season prior to this one was 80. He's at 87 for the season. He has been great. I actually think there's a chance that he can just be an 86% guy. I think he might be okay with that area. But 92 is also way higher than that. He's hitting 56% of his twos. Huge. You know what he was last season? 49.8. You know what he is this season? 49.9. You know what he was the season before that? 47.1. Has he figured it out in the last 2 weeks? Probably not. So, free throws, 3-pointers, 2-pointers, all likely to drop and maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 percentage points. Huge, huge, huge drops. And of course, when you're red hot, Ime Udoka says, cool, you have 4 extra minutes, you take 3 extra shots. It all amplifies. So I think Green is still going to be good. He has taken big steps forward this season. He has improved a lot. There are still going to be cold streaks. He is not maintaining this. The question is going to be is how do you sell high on it? Because a lot of people will understand that. But there will be people who are Jalen Green stands. Absolutely. There will be people who will be like, he has figured it out. New gear has clicked. Is he an all-star? There will be those people. And to those people, I say, would you like Jalen Green? Would you like to take him? Because I would take, like I said, 20th over the last 2 weeks, 19th. I would take a top 50 player without any question. Anyone. I actually think you can go higher, to be honest. I don't think you have to go top 50. I think you might be able to get top 40. You might not be. Shout out to the double Onyx titanium platinum diamond leagues. You might not be able to. but I'd be happy getting a top 50 because he's a guy that just has people who love him. He's a guy that has people who are willing to buy in at any point because they see the flash. They see the 41 points yesterday. They love that. And they go, well, it's here. He's here. And he has improved. But to that level, to a true shooting of 65%, not likely. Don't see many players go from 54% true shooting to 65 and then maintain it. Seems pretty unrealistic. So he's going to come back down. I'm very, very confident that he will not maintain this level of production. Very confident. We're going to talk about his teammate in a second. Bit of a spoiler. It's Amen Thompson. Before we do that, though, today's episode is brought to you by Hungry Root. When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, well, time can be hard to come by. Like, you might be busy with work and school and kids and whatever. So you'd be like, I can't get to the supermarket. I can't get the stuff that I need. Well, with Hungry Root, do you call it a supermarket or just a grocery store? What do you say? Anyway, it doesn't matter because we don't have to worry about that. Hungry Root can get that stuff. They're like a personal shopper, personal nutritionist that can get you the stuff delivered to your home. It's easier to eat healthy and you do it without stress. Takes care of all of your grocery shopping. It recommends meals which can be cooked in under 15 minutes as well. So you got quick, healthy meals delivered tasting great, delivered straight to your door. And with Hungry Root, well, I've got a great limited time offer. You get 40% off your first box and you get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/lockedonnba and use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That is hungryroot.com/lockedonnba. The code is LOCKEDONNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. Okay. The next one, like I've already spoiled, is Amen Thompson. Amen is awesome. I gave this, I don't know, did anyone even answer my question yesterday when I said if you did a 2023 redraft, Victor obviously goes 1, but there's no way that Amen doesn't go 2, right? Like, he's very clearly number 2. I had him very clearly number 3 in that draft, but I would easily move him to number 2 now without any question. And we are getting an opportunity to see Amen Thompson, not even the full form of Amen Thompson, because he's 21. Like, it's year 2. He's played 150 games in the NBA, not even. How many games has he played, actually? I'll have a look at that in a sec. But we have got plenty more to come from him. He was a ridiculous prospect. He is performing at a ridiculous level. I'm checking how many games has he played. He has played, 98 career games. It's a sell high, though. Here's why. I actually think I am projecting him to be a top 60 player rest of season. Largely because I think they're going to find ways to get him minutes. And early this season, look, he's only averaging 29 minutes a game. And he was at 26 for a long period of time. But I don't know whether he starts over Jabari Smith. He probably doesn't, to be honest. But I think he's going to get enough minutes. The thing is that you've got so much scope here for this to come down. Because he's averaging 40 minutes a game. But it will come down. And maybe he doesn't even hit the 33 minutes that I think that he will. So you might say, well, Josh, you've got him ranked 55th rest of season. You've got him averaging 36 or whatever fantasy points. Like, why is this a sell high? Well, he's putting up ridiculous numbers. As I noticed that some of those numbers there are incorrect, and I don't know why that ranking there is incorrect. Let me just double check that. Yeah, apologies for that. That number's wrong. Obviously, he's not 87th over the last 2 weeks. He's actually 22nd, and he is averaging in that time 47 fantasy points. So there are very clear. He's cooking, Amen Thompson, absolutely, but he's clearly not going to be that good, right? I don't think anyone looks at him as a second-round player. So when you talk about sell high, no one's going to give you a round 2 player back. But I would be very interested in just seeing how people view it, because you might not think this. I might not think this. Somebody will. They will think, Josh, he's so good. He's clearly better than Dylan Brooks. He's better than Fred VanVleet. He's better than Jabari Smith. Why wouldn't they play him 40 minutes a night still? He is their second best player, however you want to phrase it. Somebody will say that. Now, it won't be many people, but somebody will. So I can go through all of these things and explain why I think they're going to fall. But there will be someone out there, someone watching this show probably will say it too. And they'll be like, Josh, he's this good. Why wouldn't they just play him? And I get that. But 40 minutes 18 points a game, 13 rebounds a game, 12 field goal attempts. He's at 18 usage over this time. He's hitting his free throws at a decent rate. Not great, but decent. So all it comes down to is like, what's your level of belief in Amen? Because my level of belief for the rest of the season might actually be higher than yours, where I've got him like top 60. But there will be others out there who believe that he will be top 30. And Udoka loves the big minutes and he'll play 37 a night. And he's coming off a game where he had 5 blocks. He's averaging 18, 13, and 4 with 1.8 steals and 1.5 blocks in the last 4 games in 40 minutes a night, shooting 56 and 71. That's a true shooting of 62%. It's ridiculous. He is going to be good. So it's also possible, right? And I know this is a sell high show. He is also maybe a buy low. Because if someone thinks he's going to go back and play 24 minutes a night and he's going to be outside the top 100, well, yeah, I'll take the chances that he's better than that. But there'll also be someone who thinks that he maintains this current level of production, which I don't think. It is, again, it's trade discussions, negotiations. It's all about like just having a chat. How does someone view him? What do they want to give up? Because you might get into a discussion about Amen and the other person's just like, yeah, I know he's awesome, man. Like, cool. Like, what are we getting back here? What sort of a trade are we doing? Or they might be like, yeah, and then you can tweak something. You can get a third rounder back. There might be the person that goes, look at what he's doing. It's only because Jabari's out. And yeah, that's great for now, but Tari Eason, like there are people who still believe that Tari Eason will come back from his injury and just replace him in the starting lineup. There are people who still believe that. I thought that was a possibility before we got this injury, and now I've lost faith in it, obviously. I thought that might happen. Obviously, that was wrong. So it's a tough one to 100% figure out with Amen about how the people view him. There's a wide range of outcomes. But I feel confident in saying he won't be this good. And even if he does play 40 minutes a night, I would say there's going to be a drop in some of the level of shooting. Where he's at 62% on his twos. I just think that could come to 54. No, maybe not. Maybe 58. But realistically, you're trying to cash in on roll, understanding that with a lot of sell highs, you will lose short term. And you try and gain long term. Let's talk about a player who's got some similarities, athleticism-wise, shooting struggle-wise, to Amen Thompson. And that's Russell Westbrook. I've had a complicated relationship with Russell Westbrook over my career doing this and also watching basketball. He was my favorite player for a long period of time. He was a player that I became one of my most frustrating players because he would not change his game and would not adapt. He would take the dumbest shots you've ever seen and still think that he was the guy that was the prime athlete who could hit whatever he wanted to, and that wasn't true. And then this season, I was like, there is a chance here, signing in Denver, that they actually play him starters minutes next to Jamal Murray. I went, okay, I don't mind a flyer on that. And then the start of the season, I thought he looked horrific. He couldn't shoot. He turned the ball over all the time. He didn't really fit into his role. But now he has. Now he looks great. He's starting with Aaron Gordon having been out. Gordon is back, and Westbrook is still starting. Now, Gordon's going to take his time to ramp back up. There is a possibility, an easy possibility, that Westbrook plays 30 minutes a night, irrespective of Gordon. Peyton Watson loses out. Christian Brown loses out a ton because Westbrook, honestly, is better than Christian Brown. But still, it's going to depend on the person that you are looking to negotiate with. How big of a Russ fan are they? Because what he's been doing has been ridiculous. He's the 41st ranked player over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 41 fantasy points. I think I've got him ranked 68th the rest of season for category leagues. I think that he's going to maintain good minutes here. I don't have that faith in Christian Brown. I think Russ is going to be really good. So, yeah, like what I saw earlier in the season, hated it. Didn't think he looked good at all. No interest. Things have changed, and things do change. So therefore, you take on more information and you change your opinions. And that's where I'm at with Russ. But also, I'm not sure that all of this stuff holds. In fact, there's one thing here, or a couple of things here that there's really no chance of holding, like because he's at 60% on his twos. 60%. This seems unlikely. He's at 54 for the season. He was at 51 last season. He was at 49 the year before that. So yeah, there are improvements there, but it could crash in a big way. Could he also keep 7.5 rebounds up? I don't think so. He's at 5 for the season. So largely, this is just big minutes that he's getting at the moment, 32 a night. He's also at 52% from the field for a 60% overall true shooting. And if there's one thing we know about Westbrook is that he is bad at shooting for whatever reason. Somehow he turned himself from an 84 free throw guy into a perennial 67% guy. And I don't know why, and it has not changed in 5 years. But getting a run of things where Westbrook is now at 46 for the season from the field, but also 55 over the last 15 games, that is going to come down. And he probably loses 2 minutes, 3 minutes a game. And that's enough to get a sell high going. I think he's going to be good rest of season. I think he's going to be a must-roster player. I am quite high on the value of Westbrook. But there is going to be an opportunity here before things change and Gordon plays more. And he loses 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and loses 6 percentage points that you can cash in. I think it's possible. I think it's doable. But it's also, you can just enjoy it. 2 more to go. Today's episode is brought to you by Wayfair. When you're looking to refresh after the holidays, looking at your dining room, your lounge room, and go, probably need to just fix this a little bit, make a small change or a big change, and refresh the space. Well, Wayfair has everything that you need all within your budget. So when you're looking at furniture to do that personal rebrand in your house, a restyle, well, Wayfair's going to have all the different options, small, big, that can fit your style and budget, and importantly, they've got free delivery and hassle-free delivery, even for the larger items. Navigating Wayfair's website is easy as well. You can see all those things that you need, all the different style options in order to make your home feel a little bit more like you. So find your decor style, find the items you need, find your budget range, and search it all out on Wayfair, get into your cart, and get ready to go. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. 2 more in the Sell High show, and we're going to go to Cleveland. I tweeted this out the other day about one of my rolling 2-week graphs of Jarrett Allen, because there was someone who made a comment to me saying, hey, you said that he's sell high and he's been inconsistent. I disagree. He's been really consistent. I said, well, what about that? And that's, again, I love that there are differing opinions about the valuations of players. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that that person's wrong or whatever it is. But the fact that there can be differences in the way that a player is valued means that opportunities to buy and sell are there. I think Jarrett Allen has been crazily inconsistent because, like, the last time I did a Cavs player in a buy low, sell high was Jarrett Allen as a buy low when he was like 140th over a 2-week period. And now I come back, and yes, I did Donovan Mitchell in the buy low earlier today, but now Jarrett Allen is the 25th ranked player over the last 2 weeks, averaging 43 fantasy points. And I'm pretty confident that, like, that's a sell high. The last time we had him on here, I think he blocked 2 shots in 2 weeks. And percentages were down and all that stuff's down. And now he's flying. He's averaging 14 and 10 for the season with 0.9 blocks. Last 2 weeks, which is how many games? 6 games. 18.5 points. Cool. 1.7 blocks. No worries. 77 from the field. All right. Cool. Probably unlikely to hold, yes? Now, Jarrett Allen, he fits into this area of, I say that he's a 77% shooter. You go, yeah, but he's a center. He only takes shots at the rim. He's going to be good. And it's true. It's true. But if you go from 77 to 70, it's the same as going from 54 to 47. It's the same as going from 47 to 40 in terms of pure percentage point drops. If you go from 47 to 40, you go from average to dreadful. If you go from 54 to 47, you go from strong to weak. If you go from 77 to 70, you go from excellent to excellent. But it's still a big drop. And it still influences fantasy value. And it still influences scoring. But you don't see it because it's 77 to 70. And you just go, well, yeah, he's good. Who cares? It's like going from 2.4 steals to 2.1. Yeah, but who cares? He's still the best steals guy in the league. True. But you've also lost 15 points of value and 2 steals a week there. Or whatever it is. Because our brains work in that way. That if you go from the best to still the best, but with 20% less value, people still think that you're the best. We love a rank. We love, top of the list. He's still the top. When the gaps are what are more important. Because We don't work in fantasy saying, well, I've got the number one shot blocker, therefore I get number one amount of points. It's not how it works. So Allen is not going to be a 77% shooter. Allen is not going to probably get 1.7 blocks. He has never been at that number really in any point recently. Now, the 0.9 that he's averaging this season, probably going to be better than that at some stage, I would say. That seems unlikely that he continue to be that poor. But 1.7 is a big difference. The 2.5 assists also is a weirdly high number. He's at 2 for the season. And he's up at the moment. 4 a game over his last 3 as well. And these are all just little things. So I think Jarrett Allen's probably a 70 range player, 60 range player. But again, one of those guys that when you look at the numbers, and people will look at certain time frames in ranking values and think that he's been great all season. And he's been pretty good all season. I won't say he's been great, but he's been pretty good all season. And I think you're able to pull it off. I think you're able to get some extra value here in Jarrett Allen in a trade. I think that those fantasy points numbers just aren't going to stick. I think that this ranking of top 25 isn't going to hold. He's not going to be a 19 point per game player. I feel confident in saying that. When you look at his straight 9-cat numbers, he's 15th over the last 2 weeks. He's 35th for the season. And if someone wanted to give me a top 30 player for Jarrett Allen, the easiest accept of my life. Easiest accept ever. It's just easy. It's so crazily easy. At the moment, Jarrett Allen is ranked higher than Donovan Mitchell for fantasy. Always, trades are going to be what you need and how your team looks. But he is on a hot streak that could easily have a run where he's shooting 10 percentage points worse. So 10 percentage points worse brings you down from 18.5 probably to 13 points a game, 14 points a game. Brings you down to the 60th best player, 50th best player. And if I got a top 30 guy back, I'd be very happy with it. It's all about manipulation of the value, of the ranks, of the way that people view them, and of current form, and of our goldfish brains. Last player, another big man. The Wizard of Naz Reid. It has been a disappointing season at times for Naz. He's had some terrible stretches. He's had some good stretches. He is 88th over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 30 fantasy points during that time. It is true that Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert haven't even missed a game through injury, and if they do, Reid's value is going to soar. That is true. It's also true that Reid also hasn't missed a game, so he could easily get injured, and then he's the one that's out, and not those other two. And at the moment, he is flying for a very particular reason. So it's easy to be able to, I think it's easy to sell Reid at the moment because you can look at what he's doing and the other person can look at what he's doing and they can say, yeah, but surely he just replaces Gobert or Randall gets hurt and then it gets even better than this. So while he's the 88th ranked player, straight 9-cat puts him at 69th giggity over the last 2 weeks, and people can look at that and go, but he's still only playing 27 minutes a night. And if someone is hurt, like he's going to be way better than this. So it's a nice little stash who's producing really well for me. And I understand that idea. But what I don't understand is believing that he's going to be a 49% three-point shooter. Don't think that's going to be real. That means he's hitting 2.4 threes a game and averaging 16 points. Seems unlikely that that's going to be something that he continues to do. Why does it seem unlikely? Because no one does it. No one's able to do that. Reid has had wild fluctuations in efficiency this season, and he's rolling at 65 true shooting over the last 2 weeks in 8 games. 55 on twos, which is a reasonable number, but 49 on threes is not. And that means the three-pointers come down, the field goals come down, the points per game come down. He's also up at 6 rebounds a game and 1.1 blocks per game, which he's never averaged a block per game. He's doing it at the moment. And again, there is the idea that if Randall and Gobert, and I've heard Dan Besbris talks about this all the time. You know Dan, I love Dan. He talks about this all the time. About like the Wolves guys haven't missed any time, which is 100% true. But Naz hasn't missed time at all. And the idea that Reid putting up the numbers that he's currently putting up will just amplify even further with more minutes, I don't think is true. So I think it's actually a perfect scenario to be able to get, like, if I could get like it is possible. I think you could get a top 90 player back for Reid at the moment, maybe a top 100. I think it's possible. And I would be interested. Otherwise, I'd be okay enjoying the goodness, but he's also been bad for most of the season. And at the moment, he just cannot miss from three. And we're getting a little bit of extra in the blocks. And that's where we're at. It's really as simple as that. The basic fantasy player, I'm not calling you taco because not everyone has the time to dig into all this stuff to the same level that I do, or even some of you do. Right? The basic fantasy player will just look at player rate or a rank and go, like, Reid 69th last 2 weeks. Pretty good, yeah? And he's still not starting. Wow, imagine how good he'll be. Yep, that's a basic analysis. They'll look at a rank number. The next one will be they'll look at just, his points and rebounds. Oh, look what he's doing. He's averaging 16 and 6. Great. He can do more than that. Cool. The further you go into it, I believe it becomes into what are the numbers that are hidden that are driving these. And 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage are some of those hidden numbers. You can go even further than that, like with rim numbers and potential assists and deflections and shot contests to get even further into it. But there are levels to how we look at this. And a lot of the buy low, sell high stuff is finding the level and trying to sell or buy from the people who don't dig as deep. And that's, I think, how you get winning results. So that's our sell highs done on National Hat Day. Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, Russell Westbrook, Jarrett Allen, and Naz Reid are all of your sell highs. Do you think that they were sell highs? Do you disagree with me on those? Do you think that Amen can keep up this run? What about Jalen? It's possible. And I think the 5 names I've chosen here are names that I think everyone can easily make an argument that they can keep it up. Jalen's this good. Amen will keep starting. Westbrook's better than Brown and Gordon and will start and play 30 minutes a night. Jarrett Allen's being Jarrett Allen, and imagine if Naz Reid gets to start. People can easily convince themselves that this can hold. And that's how you do a sell high. Guys, hit the thumb, subscribe, and make sure you're having a good day. Write something down. Make sure you can read it. Unlike me with my handwriting, write something down. Say, tomorrow, I'm going to do this. What is it you're going to do? You're going to go for a walk. Positive, lift up, don't push down. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.